Right off the bat, I have one major pro and one major con that I'd like to point out before launching into the 14th James Bond film. The con, Roger Moore's age. He was 57 years old. It probably isn't as noticeable because he consecutively played the role since 1973. It isn't like there was a 20-year gap like with Rocky, Rambo, and Indiana Jones, but a lot of critics, as well as Moore himself, noticed. Now for the pros. Christopher Walken is the antagonist. Name one film where Christopher Walken disappoints. The movie could be a piece of garbage, but you put Christopher Walken in there, and he's just added value to your ticket purchase.
My son bought me a Cadillac today. I think that calls for a toast.
If there's anything to be said about this movie, it's that he's in it. This would be the last Bond movie to feature Roger Moore as 007, and he had a good run. This would also be the last one to appropriately feature Lois Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny, and she was showing her age as well, having been in every film since the original Dr. No.
You never take me to dinner looking like this, James. You never take me to dinner, period.
So this was definitely the end of an era. We were into the mid-'80s, and at this point the James Bond franchise was a far call from what it had started out as. The movie opens with the usual scene of Bond skiing down the slopes, this time in Siberia, after he uncovers a microchip from a dead 00 agent. And by dead, I mean frozen beneath the ice. What a way to go. He evades some Soviet agents, then begins snowboarding, with a Beach Boys song playing in the background. A helicopter explodes and Bond gets away in a submarine that looks like an iceberg. Clever Q, very clever. Then we go to the title sequence, which has the best Bond tune ever, played by Duran Duran.
Nightfall covers me, but you know the plans I'm making still oversee. Could it be the whole of opening wide?
Bond goes to headquarters where Q briefs him on a new microchip being manufactured by Zorin Industries, run by Max Zorin. He goes to the horse races where we meet Zorin and his butch girlfriend Mayday, played by Grace Jones. Of course, Zorin's horse wins the race, but its wild behavior has Bond wondering if the animal's been drugged. At the Eiffel Tower, Bond dines with a French detective when he gets assassinated by a killer butterfly. Bond goes to chase after Mayday, who jumps off the Eiffel Tower with Bond giving pursuit. After his car gets chopped in half, he drops into a wedding, and after all that, Mayday still escapes. Yep, Bond's getting a little slow in his old age. Bond goes to Zorin's estate to investigate the horses and finds out that Zorin's paid off a blonde a large sum of money. He confronts Zorin, making the man uneasy. Zorin has Mayday keep a close eye on him.
Someone will take care of you.
Oh, you'll see to that personally, will you?
Bond and his assistant Tibet investigate Zorin's laboratory, where they discover that Zorin has been using microchips to remotely administer drug enhancements to his horses. Mayday and Zorin spar with each other, and is it me or does Christopher Walken with blonde hair look like an ugly blonde chick? Mayday realizes Bond's in the building, and Zorin basically gives her permission to cheat on him with his enemy. Why? I have no idea. Zorin meets up with Bond and uses a fairly primitive computer to realize that, hey, he's James Bond. Who knew? Tibet, acting as Bond's chauffeur, goes to pick up Mayday, and in a scene right out of The Godfather, Mayday chokes him to death. Remember that scene in Godfather when they choke a guy as they pass through a car wash? Bond accepts Zorin's offer to race him in a friendly horse race in an event riddled with booby traps. Bond nearly catches up with Zorin when his horse veers off course, and he crosses paths with Mayday's vehicle. He finds Tibet dead, then gets hauled off to a lake where Mayday uses her Schwarzenegger-like strength to sink the car. Bond escapes using the air from one of the tires to survive. General Gogol reprimands Zorin for killing Bond. A fight breaks out in which Mayday shows up to once again demonstrate what a manly man she really is. Zorin then reveals his plans to monopolize the microchip market.
Project Main Strike, for which each of you will pay me $100 million. $100 million?
One of the investors pulls out from the deal when in typical Bond villain fashion, he falls to his death. Bond goes to San Francisco and meets with CIA agent Chuck Lee, played by David Kipp, who had a really small role in Temple of Doom.
That's not a waiter.
He reveals that Zorin was actually the result of a medical experiment produced by Nazi scientist Karl Mortner. James goes to scope out Zorin's oil rig and is almost diced up into fish bait by a propeller. He discovers that a KGB agent is also there to spy on Zorin, and her partner, who isn't so lucky, actually does get ground up. Pola Ivanova and James rendezvous at a spa where Pola uses her wily charms to seduce Bond and steal a recording. Bond, of course, switches the tapes, which, as we know from Diamonds Are Forever, is a common reoccurrence in these films.
I switched the tape in the machine.
You stupid twit, you put the real one back in.
Come on, let's go.
Women just can't seem to figure this out, can they? Bond breaks into the house of a state geologist, Stacy Sutton, the blonde that Zorin pays off in the beginning. She intends to kill Bond for breaking and entering when they're ambushed by thugs. After Chuck Lee gets killed, man, he just doesn't survive very long in these movies, does he? Stacy and Bond go to check out the San Francisco City Hall to steal Zorin's secret documents. Zorin and Butch Bitch, she sounds like an Eddie Murphy punchline, doesn't she?
And see me on the cover of Jet with some woman with a big bone and a plate and a big fucked up afro, butt naked, and you're gonna say, hey, Eddie must be visiting Africa. You're gonna say, Murphy marries Bush Bitch. I'm gonna be like...
Arrive, kill the chief geologist using Bond's gun, and then set the place on fire, framing Bond for everything. The fire department shows up when Bond escapes in a fire truck, evading the police in a pretty impressive chase sequence. Remember that awesome scene of destruction in Terminator 3? Well, this predates that by about 20 years. They get to Zorin's mine. Alright, just how many locations does he own? A mansion, an oil rig, a laboratory, and now a mine? Jesus, just give him the whole world, why don't you? Bond and Stacy play dress-up and then venture deep into the mine shafts. They get caught by Zorin and Mayday, and while Mayday pursues Bond, Zorin goes all batshit crazy. He blows up his mine and shoots all the workers. Mayday, pissed off that her psycho boyfriend just tried to blow her up, helps Bond escape. She then gets Zorin's bomb out of the mine shaft and blows herself up in the process. I guess she wanted to go out her way? Zorin kidnaps Stacy in his blimp, with Bond coming along for the ride. He manages to tie the blimp to the Golden Gate Bridge, leading to a fight where Crazy Man Walken starts chopping at Bond with an axe. After Zorin falls to his death, Old Man Nazi Boy starts firing at our heroes when the blimp explodes. Moneypenny listens in, getting all teary-eyed when she realizes Bond might be dead. Yeah, right. Okay, seriously, the cat bowl actually says pussy on it.
That's my little octopusy.
Pussy galore.
James loves his pussy, doesn't he? Q uses his robotic dildo to spy on James and finds him taking a shower with Stacy. And we go out on Roger Moore's last film with a look at the Golden Gate Bridge. Roger Moore himself stated that this was his least favorite of the Bond films, primarily because of his age, and the fact that Zorin is a criminally insane psychopath who mows down a ton of mine workers with a machine gun. But since when is any Bond villain proven to be sane? That's the fun of a Bond villain. What good is a villain who makes repetitive speeches but doesn't act on their hate crimes? In my opinion, that was the problem with the last few Bond villains. They didn't do anything but send their henchmen out to do their work for them. As far as his age goes, it really isn't that noticeable. Again, he had been doing these films back-to-back for about 12 years, so the character's aging was subtle. He was in his late 50s at this time, and that is a little old to be doing these kinds of movies, but unless you're really paying attention, you wouldn't notice. He looks good doing those stunts. As far as the film itself goes, again, it's not bad, but it's average, and it doesn't add anything new. Once again, it takes away Bond's nifty gadgets, and the action outweighs the plot. Christopher Walken makes for a pretty mean villain, but his blonde hair is kind of silly, and when you compare this performance to other characters he's played, it's kind of underwhelming.
Tight, rockin' body.
Hey! You're talking to my guy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. Do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
But hey, it still has that rock'em sock'em feeling, and it's way better than either of the Timothy Dalton films. Speaking of which, tune in next time, and we'll cover the short-lived Timothy Dalton era as the baton is handed over once again.